Yo, 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 what's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Nate the Great coming at you with another live. You already know if you're new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. To all the returning friends and family, you already know it's peace and blessings. Give y'all some time to tune in. Apologies for the time changes. Last couple of days been some busy days, but nonetheless, if you don't get sun in the morning, you'll get sun throughout the day. First things first, you already know. Hopefully, everybody's having a blessed and productive Thursday evening. Hopefully, everybody smoothly got through the work day. I know for some of y'all, kids are back in school already. Hopefully, they had a great school day. For those celebrating birthdays this week or this weekend, hopefully, y'all enjoy your weeks. Stay blessed as always. Stay positive. Keep your mind under wraps and just enjoy every moment and make some new memories. Appreciate everybody that tuned in yesterday for the conversation. Definitely was a great one. If you missed it, definitely catch the replay. Title the title today is what it is, but it's a question as well too. And it'd be good to get some people's feedback on it. Does divorce create broken legacies? In my opinion, I believe it kind of does. It kind of affects the legacy. I don't know too much about breaking. It affects the situation at hand because, to be honest with you, like I said, no kid wants to ever hear parents splitting up, especially when they have been accustomed to and known that the mother and father have been deeply in love, keeping everything in balance and in order, and now that order or that comfortability basically is getting messed up. Now, it doesn't create a broken legacy when the kids are older, for example. Like if you got older children and if things just didn't work out with you and a significant other, then, by all means, if you feel like you've come to that point of an impasse where things are irreconcilable, then, you move on. But I would say it doesn't break a legacy or leave a broken legacy because if you stood by each other, you raised your kids, you've done everything necessary, then, you're pretty much in a good position. You made sure your kids graduated, everybody's doing what's needed and necessary for their own life and their growth. Then you didn't break a legacy. You know, you kept a legacy and a tradition going as far as you could take it. Susanna, baby. Now, I believe to a degree it leaves a broken legacy or it leaves a messed up legacy when the kids are that young. If you think about it, again, young child is used to the comforts of a mother and a father being there. And now that one or either both parents are not going to be in the situation, it causes concern. Like I said, when it comes down to divorce, yes, it hurts. It will hurt any man and any woman who are going through it, but it will also hurt the kids, especially when they're young and don't fully understand what's really going on. How do you explain to kids that young that, this just isn't going to work? Hence why I said when it comes to certain scenarios, even if it is dreading down to that point, you need to sit down and have a strong conversation on it. Now again, you done been married for mad long, anything over 20, 30, 40 plus years, and things just finally decide not to work out. As long as you know you did all you could, made sure your kids was in the right positions, That should be the most important thing. Some people it's not going to be that simple. See, this is the thing. Can't be too sure on a lot of different things at hand. You can't be guaranteed that your kids will not act out or be enraged about certain things. Because again, you are deconstructing something that was a form of balance to them. Again, like we try to say to a degree, like with some women, if you got a good man, you got a good father that's doing what they need to do, especially when these kids is young, don't yank kids out their life. Divorce can kind of leave a broken legacy only if the divorce is a nasty divorce. Like, you know, full on disrespect, things along that nature. If it's really nasty and just downright disgusting, it can break or tarnish the legacy. One thing I've always felt again is that you don't tarnish people's credibility. If, like I said, the father is doing what's needed and what's necessary, then again, don't feel like you got to be at an impasse. I've always felt even before you get deep into some form of relationship or marriage, y'all should sit down and have specific talks. You know, yeah, like have the talks about what what's a deal breaker basically. I've always felt that people don't violate the deal breakers, then why not try to work through everything? You know, it's gonna be things y'all don't agree on. It's gonna be things that come up to the table. You might not really see eye to eye on. But if those is differences that could be pushed to the side and come back to, then push them to the side. It could kind of cause tarnish and brokenness to the situation too. Because think about it. If prime example, man is doing what he's supposed to be doing, and the wife just decides that they just want to up and leave, you got to think about it. That's something being ripped open, or vice versa. If a man decides he want to leave his wife abruptly for somebody else, how you think the legacy is going to be? How you think your legacy is going to be? You're basically yanking out fabric and all the good blessings that are in your possession. Again, when they are young, y'all need to figure out things and keep a balance in order. Some people have faked the funk basically in certain instances like that because they didn't want to destroy whatever balance was in the house. Understandable. It's understandable to a degree. But I've always felt like this. If you are in great positions and that's the reason why you got married, you only find things to make it greater. Again, communication got to be open. The minute that you feel there's some form of mistrust or dishonesty or anything along those lines, then yeah, you present that and you do what's necessary. But if it's nothing of the sort and that man has been everything that you wanted in a man, prime example, and what's the focus or what's the purpose on getting divorced? Now you have some people who, because of their own selfish pride and reasons, have ripped open their own damn fabric of family life. Just imagine you as a significant counterpart to the person is thinking everything is good only to come find out abruptly or almost last minute that the person that you've been with just decide they want to up and leave. with no real reasoning at all. There are some people who have messed themselves up just like that. You have no real reasoning or no real basis to get divorced, but just because you feel you want to explore, you're kind of messing up the situation right there. James, what's going on, my guy? Messing up a whole entire situation. Again, communication will always be the best and the most solid piece of connection and building. Like I can't build with somebody and connect with somebody if we not having open conversations like we're supposed to have. No way to do it. But when you sit there and really open your eyes and pay attention, you'll start to see that that's exactly what's needed more than anything. See, you're gonna have kids who feel a type of way because again, they are not expecting any form of separation when it comes to their parents. It leaves them in an awkward position because now it's like, well, who do you choose? Which you really shouldn't choose nobody because they both your parents equal regardless of what. But you have some men and women out there who will pin their kids against the counterparts, almost use them as pawns. Serious, baby. I already know y'all just tuned in at the like button. I believe it can damage and destroy a certain legacy depending on what's what. Because again, that child might not be accustomed to one parent being absent all the time. To be honest with you, that's where you get some of your act. That's where you get some of the situations where kids are acting up or just doing everything outside of. It's a cry for help. Carolina, baby. Appreciate you tuning in. I feel like that. It's the truth. You will always get that form of situation, even if a parent is trying to break down everything to their child and trying to just get a reasoning on things. The child is going to feel a type of way. The child is going to feel some form of resentment because why don't I have both parents? Why don't I have both of them in the house? Like I said, divorce could break and destroy your legacy dependent if the divorce proceedings are nasty, especially when it comes down to custody of the kids. Custody battles too will destroy a legacy to a degree because now it's almost essential, like you're saying, yeah, this one parent is better than the other one. That's what's up. Congratulations, Carolina, baby. Congratulations and keep grinding, keep succeeding. Don't let nothing stop you, sis. Sky's the limit now. But yeah, think about that. How many scenarios have you had like that with even when you heard stories, they just say I was doing certain things because I was acting up. I was crying for attention, and the attention I required, I needed both my parents, not just one. That's something that you don't think about, but you need to start thinking about it. I believe divorce does cause a lot of broken legacies and what we see in the communities now. And there's certain institutions that also cause that division as well. You got to solely think. Like I said before, the marriage rate was high up until a certain point. It's not high no more. What is high now is divorce, unhappiness, child custody battles, so on and so forth. And on those lines, that's up. It's at all time high. 70% of divorces. It's crazy. That ratio, and it's not just my opinion. I've always believed the ratio was the opposite way back in the day. You had 70% of successful marriages, even when they was going through whatever they was going through, because you don't know everybody's personal situations. Grant that. But if you've been solid that long, even up to a certain point, that shows. That statistic was what it was. Why? Because everybody was listening to their own self and not listening to things that are being put in society as we speak now. Again, to a degree, it's almost like you're trying to eliminate the male factor of everything. They got some of y'all believing that this is what you need to do and this is what you got to do. And I'm not just going to blame society neither. Some of it is your own doing. Because if you can listen to something that doesn't make sense, it goes to show you. You know, there's some form of self doubt, self hate, and that runs deep. Like, prime example, I believe some divorces are happening because, again, you got outside interference. Instead of you keeping certain things under wraps and keeping certain things where you need to keep it, you'll blurt them out to your friends, your homegirls, your homeboys. You talk about the situation. You think it's going to stay there, but then it don't stay there. I've always felt when it comes to certain talks, you need to keep that behind closed doors, especially if you want to maintain and keep your marriage intact, relationship intact. It's just some things you don't always got to put out there. Leave it where it's at. And if you're going to bring it out and present it, then you got to expect a whole bunch of different views and opinions coming from different places. They try to tell you, oh, well, you need to do this to keep your. No. If you know what keeps your counterpart happy, you will want to do everything in your power to keep that going. You don't listen to society. You don't listen to what anybody else thinks. If you truly love a person, prime example, if the things that brought y'all together, have kept y'all together this long, then keep focusing on that. And make sure you keep building solidly. Some of you men and women will mess your own selves up because you're listening to either your homeboys, your homegirls, or you're just listening to unlicensed marriage professionals, basically. I'm not a marriage counselor or none of that. But I've been in a healthy, long relationship to know the do's and don'ts of keeping the woman. That's just me. Everybody else's walking path is different. I understand all of that. Appreciate you for dropping those links, serious baby. Working hard in these damn traffic cops, baby. But again, you gotta think about it. If you would listen to yourself, if you would trust yourself, know your partner real well, you'd be surprised what could happen. Again, gotta stop listening to certain BS that's being put out there. Follow what feels right to you. And that's where people kind of mess up right now. You rush to get into something because you just don't want to be alone. But in that same institute, you're putting yourself in a vulnerable position. And I believe, again, the problem is what it is. There's no solid form of real communication. Nobody's sitting down at the table and saying, well, look, um, I believe we should do this, or I believe this is what's best for us. Have like you can't have a conversation with somebody and it's only going to be one way. You got to be able to sit down and compromise. Give me 1 second, y'all. Where the hell is this car going, man? Come on. But once there's no compromise, no nothing along those lines, then you should know off the rip from there where you want to go. And this is even before you get married. Can't work together, compromise, and figure certain things out, then you don't need to be together. Again, you are supposed to find somebody that best suits you, right? There's some people who go off the limb thinking that these are the people, and you know what? I'm going to give my all to them. And not fully even thinking things can change up. Now, again, if you've been together long enough, you should be able to figure out where you go from here. And you should be able to do certain things the way you keep everything under wraps. Your marriage should be under wraps. Really should be. Give me 1 second again. Come on, man. Oh, yeah. And again, I'm not a marriage counselor, none of that shit. But I've been in a healthy relationship that know the do's and don'ts. And it wasn't no fling or none of that. I've been with that person day in and day out. And that's what you got to start getting into. That's where you got to start getting into things. 'Cause at some point, you will be living within the same confines together. So if you can't even compromise then, it's going to be a problem when you do decide to actually try to shack up together or do whatever. Because you both ain't going to have a sense of where the boundaries should be met at. And yes, there should be boundaries when it comes to your relationship and marriage. Because again, how you going to keep certain things in balance? Same way you get them is the same way you need to keep them. At least from what I've seen. If you mean well by them and this is exactly the person you are trying to be with, then guess what? You be with them. And you let nobody stand in the way of that. Because again, I feel the worst thing that can happen, especially when these children are young, is the parents being divorced. Because again, it hurts people. Yeah, it hurts grown-ups, but it also hurts the kids that's involved because they don't know what's gonna happen there. All they know is that things are not gonna be the same like they used to be. But then there are some people who, again, they keep the legacy intact by making sure that the kids are where they need to be at. And even if you go back in the day, like we had this conversation recently, A lot of men would take in certain things even when the woman was being unfaithful and vice versa. The reason why they both kept things intact is because regardless to what, a child should not go without either parent. You had men who was raising other men's kids, raising other women's kids. But see, this is my thing too. There should be no forms of irresponsibility when it comes to your overall dynamic. Again, granted, if you've been together forever and you're in a position now where if you feel that's what you want to do is move on, but you better make sure you're moving on for the right reasons. You have to actually still have some form of a solid reason. There are some people who again mess up their own happiness and their own comfortability just off a irrash decision. I feel when you take those vows and you make that necessary step, jumping that broom, you have basically not so much as signed a physical contract, you signed a lifetime contract with your soulmate. This is a person that you plan on building with and possibly growing old with. Not saying that mistakes don't get made, but when you are in a comfortable, solid position, you're supposed to do whatever. One second. My bad, y'all. But yeah, let's be real. You know, you have to remember this. Communication is a must. Honesty, loyalty, and trust, that's a definite stand still variant. That will keep you standing still throughout the test of time, throughout the baddest of weathers and all of that. And you gotta solely know what it is. If you feel you deem this is gonna be the person for you, the things that you did to gain them, make sure you keep implementing that and implementing new things to keep everything in order. Like, yeah, you must spice things up at times. Again, there got to be compromises, and that's on both ends. If you both open your mouth and be boisterous and say what you're feeling and say what's on your mind and say it in a level-headed notion on that, it'd be all right. There are some people who was already going near divorce, but they didn't do it because again, the reason for that would have been petty and minor. And 9 out of 10, if it really wasn't no basis to where a person feel they should leave, then why break up the institute? We know in certain cases divorce is happening because of infidelities and lies, and it could be on either side. My thing is again, it's a serious step in commitment when you are getting married. You can't say that you love somebody and you willing to do whatever for them and even put a ring on their finger. If in the same token, you're gonna damage and destroy the bond that you got. Cool Gamer, what's going on? I mean, that is something to look at for real. There's no way you can sit here and tell me that your mindset is not set on trying to make sure that your marriage stands the test of time. Again, marriage is a huge step and it's not a game. There are some people who don't take that lightly and they take that seriously. So if you're gonna be with them, you're gonna be with them for the long haul. Certain situations, we already know what it is. We know the fact that some people have clinged together from a young age and have been inseparable since. I get it. The old high school sweetheart thing, I get over that. Trust me, I get over that. But I've always felt like this. Even when you're young and you're in those stages of finding out what's what, always keep an open option just in case. Because just because things could be hitting off well, that don't mean it's going to stay well. Then you got to get to know a person inside and out. And in certain instances, these people knew each other. They always had some form of whatever for each other. And when the opportunity presented themselves, they made do. Some instances, I feel like this. If you've only had one option in life and have never experienced anything outside of, that right there will cause a friction in your mind. There's some people right now who are divorcing just because of that. You didn't have multiple options like you thought you had. Or you thought you still gonna have multiple options once you done gotten to a certain stage in the game. You find out those options are slim to none. You should never settle for less. And you should never settle at all. You know? You can settle down with somebody, but you should never settle for less at all. But again, you gotta know yourself. And you gotta know yourself well. If you felt like you wanted to explore your options before you got into anything committed, your main thing should have said, let me make sure that I got the right person. Or let me make sure that everything that with this person is going to maintain the way it's going to maintain. Let me see if I'm missing anything out here. If I feel I found the best possible match for me, then I don't need to look no further. I won't have no doubts in my mind. I won't have no recourse or anything. One thing I said is that once you marry, yeah, there's certain dynamics that change, especially when there's kids involved. But even before that factor right there, I should still be keeping everything spontaneous like it's supposed to. You know, it's good to be spontaneous. It's good to try to keep everything spiced up. You know, especially when you feel at certain points, things are getting a little dull. And that's any marriage or relationship. If things seem a little dull, you need to sit down with your counterpart and let it be known what's going on. Figure out a way that y'all could get past this stage and then get back to the same form of love and care that you've been giving each other. But you have to make sure that you're both able and willing to sit down and listen. Listen to your partner. If your partner is telling you something that's clear as day and clear English, and you act like you don't understand it, that's a problem, and that's on both ends. There's some men who don't require much, just like there's some women who don't require much. You gotta read. You gotta read the situation. Read the person that you're supposed to be building with. But you gotta think about that. It's about that time for certain things to get back to its regular dynamic. You know, when you're young and you feel like you still got options to explore, then you explore it. But if you feel you explored your options already and nothing is sufficing outside of the option you first had, and you go back to the first option, sometimes you just got to follow your gut instinct. What feels right to you, what sits right with you, that's what you're supposed to do. Ladies, listen. If your man is telling you that things are good, take that for what it is. We know sometimes y'all gonna have moments where you feeling either a little insecure, a little down, a little whatever. Thing is, y'all still both got to be emotionally available and listening to each other. Ladies, you feel a type of way, let your man know, but let him know the right way. Let him know in a gentle way. There's a way to do things. Like I said before, got to stop talking at each other and start talking to each other. Fellas, same thing. If it's something that your woman is not doing, you need to sit down and break it down to them. The minute y'all start, the minute y'all start doing that, you'll be progressing more. Because what builds a strong relationship or even a marriage is again keeping that strong tandem together. Knowing that you both are trying to share each other's world and you're trying to build memories, long lasting memories, even well after you're gone. So if that's your goal and focus, then again, pay attention. Truth, what's going on, baby? It is time for again that verbal communication to become a thing again. My fault, yeah. I'm sorry, but there's ways to keep your marriage intact. There's ways to keep yourself with long-standing memories. You have to sit down and talk. I've always felt if you have a conversation with somebody and things don't change from that conversation, then you should already know where the underlying problem is going to be at. And if it continues to be a problem where you already have started to become unhappy, then you already know where to go from there. Gotta remember, communication is what got y'all together. It wasn't just shared attributes. Y'all had some form of a conversation to get to that level to where you at now. Now it's just about keeping it open all the time. Now, I get you serious. It's the same way with some men. They don't require much outside of the love and appreciation that we feel we need right there. Like, shoot, we try to be as verbal as possible. When there's certain things that we know for a fact already seem wrong or seem out of pocket, as most men would do, they're going to voice their opinion. But I would always say not everybody could be generalized in the same situations. Can't. Not every man is going to have the key to keep somebody, whether they married or not. That's because they wasn't given the keys at a young age. Now, if they was equipped with all the right tools on how to, when to, and how to keep things together, it'd have been better. See, the principal notion of things right now is that, yeah, divorce does create broken legacies. It creates broken homes. And it creates broken homes again when the kids are still young, under the age of. Certain situations, either or might have to downgrade from what they was accustomed to. I'm saying, y'all gotta think before anything. I don't expect somebody to stay throughout a situation that they know for a fact could be a life threatening one. There's some people who have. There's some people who have been through it all. But when they really found and gained what they were supposed to gain back, which was their self worth, their self respect, and just learning that, happiness is solely within, is what you create, is what you put in there, and is what you commit your time and dedication to, start feeling a lot better. Start feeling better about themselves. They start having a better understanding. Because again, some people will make mistakes. There's not a person in the world that hasn't made some form of mistake. But again, it's high stakes when it gets to that point of marriage. Molly, baby. And again, I believe it creates broken bonds and legacies when the kids are babies. Because again, think about it. Children are used to seeing both mother and father, and especially if everything was, not saying it had to be hunky dory every day. Nah, she was gonna have your days where it's just genuine love and the overall energy is in the room and the high vibrations. They used to that. They love that. They being stimulated by both parents. They're learning from both parents. Certain things they are learning separately. Other things they are learning together as a tandem. Because what your mother can't teach you, your father can teach you, and vice versa. Your father can't teach you certain things, your mother can teach you. If either one can't teach you, you have people within the realms and within that community that could teach you. So fire too, baby. A legacy can be broken if you selfishly and unreasonably just push for that divorce. Again, don't let that bar go over your head. Your own selfishness and pride is the reason why you are destroying your happiness and destroying your kids' balance. That's a problem. Tanya, what's going on, baby? I never said men were exempt. Um, I really didn't. It goes both ways again. The same way you got that person is the same way you're supposed to keep things intact with that person. But if y'all both are not sitting down talking, then that's something on both ends. If we both refuse to really sit down and get to the nitty gritty, the meat and potatoes of what's going on, then that's both of our faults. That's not just one sole fault. So that, I'm telling you, you are going to seriously have to give your all when it comes to that. I'm not going to give you my all if I feel you ain't going to give me your all. I'm not going to give you nothing if you ain't giving me nothing. You're not giving me nothing solidly to build on. Then, nah. But this is where people need to start getting in that mindset. Fellas, you know what you require, know what you need. And if a woman is giving you that, there's no need to do it wrong. There's no need to fuck up that balance. Excuse me for saying it that way. And vice versa, ladies, same way. You got to be able to read the person well and know if that person is really going to be able to hold you down. We're Chicago, baby. See, I can pull certain things down the middle, and yeah, it sounds funny coming from the male's perspective. In certain situations, they expect all of us male counterparts to be inept cavemen. My view and opinion on it. They'll try to make it seem like we the least capable to doing anything. When we have always been solid builders, solid teachers, solid husbands, lovers, all of that. Again, a notion of trying to replace something that you know can't be replaced. We both are important to the life cycle. We both are responsible for what we bring into the world. That should be the mindset you have, especially if you are going to be moving forward. We are both going to be responsible for a lot of stuff. We have to be accountable for the things, and we need to be responsible on our things. Like I said, if we're bringing kids into the world, even if we do make it past a certain test of time, we might not ever break up, right? But if we bringing kids in the world, do you think we are doing a justice if we don't teach our kids how to? If we don't at least try to keep them on the up and ups? Not an easy thing. But it shouldn't be a thing where we don't do nothing at all. That would be the worst thing. You can break a legacy and create a broken legacy, even if you are involved with your kids. If you're involved to a degree, but you're not fully involved, like you only make sure of the certain parameters is being met and everything else is just effort, that's a problem. Diddy, baby. Who else popped up in here? My bad, y'all. Multitasking as always. Multitasking. Don't worry, I'm scheming on another short. And I'm scheming on another short. But yeah, I've always felt that way. Anything that's selfish on either end or both ends, especially when there are kids involved, you can be the downfall and the disease to that legacy even becoming a legacy. You want your children in the best positions, do everything in your power to keep that same thing in motion. Remember, we got to remember what's best and solely best for the young ones. Now it's no longer about us. Yes, it is about us to some degree, but everything else is not about us. If we want to keep everything under wraps until they get into adulthood, and even like I said before, if you just feel at certain points not going to be able to do anything outside of just go for a divorce, It better have a solid reason on why you're doing it. Not so much as doing it because you want happy. Also, shouldn't be ripping open everything because you just want to rip it up. You're not being fair, not just to your counterpart. You're not being fair to your kids at all. That's my view and opinion on it. Again, divorce can destroy a legacy and create a broken legacy. There's a lot of different ways that a legacy can be broken outside of just divorce. Tonight was just one of those conversations. It's the little brain picker basically, because you definitely want to get the views and opinions. See, that's the thing. When you bring a strong conversation like this, you got to be able to be sharp-minded, but you also got to be willing to do what's necessary. Call it down the middle. See, again, we have allowed society and we have allowed certain things to come within the society to tell us otherwise. Real men know how to love their women just like real women know how to love their men. They know what it takes, what is required, and they are taking all those necessary steps to keep everything in balance. We'll see what's going on, baby. Now think about that. Foundational strength within your relationship or even your marriage, that's solid. You know why it's so solid? Because nothing can break through it. Nothing. You know, think about it. If you already know what you love about yourself, you know everything along those lines, you know what you love about yourself, you know what you probably can improve on yourself. You just got a full 360 awareness of, right? Now you're going to take that knowledge that you know and you're going to apply it to your everyday life. It's supposed to do so. Sometimes you're going to have to explore new boundaries. But if those new boundaries are going to create long lasting and sustained memories, it's going to keep y'all solid, functional. It's going to always give you that thrill and that spark. Know that you're sharing that with your counterpart. And you keep those things where you need to keep it. Don't allow nobody to harm it. And definitely one thing to remember is don't take it for granted. You are in a lucky position if you want to be technical, because there are some people who never got the chance to, or probably will never get the chance to. And if you're one of those solid ones, hey, you better take every good, bad looking cranny, and again, elevate. There's some of y'all that feel y'all have to do certain things in order to keep somebody satisfied. If you don't have to jump all the way out of a window to do so, then I would kindly suggest you do what you've been doing. Keep it simple. There's nothing wrong with doing that. There's some of y'all that think that you are required to, well, I gotta have the flyers this to keep this one. I gotta have this amount of money to keep this one. I gotta no. Key thing you should have is love. You should have love with each other, honor with each other, definitely trust, dedication. Your communication will always be a must, because trust me, you can't do things in life if you're not expressing yourself or if you're not expressing views, ideas, and opinions. It's just that simple, you know? And if y'all do hear some music, apologies, you already know. But I kid you not. Like I said the other day, you better make sure you're getting married, or you better make sure the person that you're pursuing, you better make sure it's all for the right reason. And again, start following your gut. Follow your spirit and your soul when something don't feel right. And I've always said this too. If you have doubts to a degree on certain things, then that's a problem. Before you go any further, you need to confront those things. But I would always say this too. If you confronted it already and you done tossed it, shouldn't be brought up again, or it shouldn't have to resonate again. Again, we are not mind readers. Just like we know you ladies ain't mind readers. But we are great communicators and great listeners. And that's what we need to remember. Communication, not just speaking, but listening to each other. You're supposed to take into considerations each other's feelings, aspirations, and all of that. How can I say I want to be with you and I'm not trying to help build you? Or I'm not trying to guide you to a great build? I'm doing my job as I'm supposed to as a counterpart. We are supposed to keep each other uplifted regardless. But when we get on this notion of, oh, we could do better than, or we don't need this, or we don't need anything that should resonate with anybody, you're not promised tomorrow. Your best bet right now is trying to grab on to something that you can grab on to. Yes, you make the best out of your life. You don't rush the process in life. You don't rush anything in life. But you also don't got time to be wasting either. So you should move at a decent pace. You know, explore the options you need to explore before you decide to do anything. I'll be honest with you. You'll do yourself a world of difference. If you feel that you do have a better option outside of what you have presented in front of you, then again, that's solely up to you to do. That's going to be up to you to decide that. But you still need to have that tough conversation regardless. Apologies for the win, but gotta have that. What better way to keep everything solid is talking to each other. There could be something that your significant other might want to bring to you, and it could be something where you both either could benefit from it, or it's just something that you want to bring up. Gotta be able to sit down and talk. There's nothing wrong with that. That's one part, serious. That is one part. But again, I feel like this. If that's solely the main reason, I don't know what to really say about that now. Because if everything else is where it's supposed to be at, right? Like there's no infidelities, there's no nothing outside that would normally have somebody leaving. Why not just focus on what still kept y'all together? That's my view and opinion on it. Now again, ain't nobody gonna want to be around or try to at least build or still build with somebody that's constantly cheating and doing whatever. I grant that. And that's on both ends. But I've always said if it's nothing really damaging, like to where it would cause for some form of divorce, try to just move past that situation right there. We're gonna let one problem destroy everything, like, and it's not even a real major problem. It's just something to think about. Like I don't know. It's different now because look at what's been placed right now. Oh, if you feel you could do better, then divorce them, or feel they ain't doing nothing. You feel they ain't doing nothing. You feel they ain't doing nothing, but they could be actually doing whatever. Divorce them. They not doing this the way they supposed to do it, or the way you divorce them. Again, some people are allowing outside interference to be that reason. But I've always felt again, you're supposed to have compromises. I feel like this. If I'm gonna make that ultimate step, I need to know you not just inside and out. I need to also confirm a few things, which you're supposed to do. If those things don't best suit interest, or if they are not gonna get you anywhere you would like to be at, then it is your preference. Yeah, you do have options to explore. But once you already made a strong decision on something, marriage is a strong, valuable, and a committed step in life. To say you want to give your all and be with somebody for the rest of your remaining days, that means y'all done been through the hellfire and back. You knew what it took to keep everything under wraps in the relationship before you even got to the point of marriage. Again, there's things that don't really happen that could cause somebody to say, you know what, I just don't want to be with you no more. It's possible to, it's possible to fall out with certain things, and that's true. But once you already feel you're at that stage, that's where the conversation is supposed to happen. It shouldn't be later down the line, and it shouldn't be just abruptly thrown on somebody. Once you already feel that unhappiness, y'all need to really sit down and figure things out. But I would say if there's only one small problem, because even the smallest one problem could be an irreconcilable difference. But that's corny, because then that's giving them the grants and say, oh, well, we feel that way, I divorce. No, give me a solid reason why you're getting the divorce from this person. I need a strong view on why. Because believe me, if you got certain judges, they ain't trying to hear that. If it's really nothing that's based on solidity and anything else, no validation in, ah, I'm not granting you that. You right, serious. Listen, give me a second. Motherfuckers always trying to give a nigga a copyright. My bad, y'all. But nah, y'all gotta keep that shit strong. Like I said, there's no way you can tell me you're gonna build with somebody if you're not even gonna communicate with them. Like, come on now. It's the simplest things that keep everything intact. Don't take rocket science sometimes. Same way you got them, better keep them. So you can tell. If I got you through just shared personality and everything else along those lines, then I know that's what I got to keep intact, especially for the name's sake of anything. You know, and that's what I'm saying. It's solely up to you what you place in your life as far as the happiness is concerned. Divorce is not happy. Divorce is not a happy part of life at all. Again, there's multiple reasons why people get divorced. But I've always felt like this: if it's not a strong basis and you just trying to push for it, that means you just being selfish. Supposed to, serious. Supposed to. Look here, and that's on both ends. You both got to be available for each other on all levels. My bad, y'all. I hope I don't get a copyright, y'all. I'm not trying to mute this shit. I'm cooking. Okay, give me a second. Oh Lord. Matter of fact, forget it. I'm gonna just take all the losses today. I've always felt like this, right? That anytime any man or woman is unhappy with their situation, instead of just clamming up, instead of going into complete silence on things, or instead of just abruptly bringing it on, y'all need to sit down and have that conversation from there. The first form of unhappiness or anything, you are supposed to do that. Especially again, you are supposed to be considering each other's feelings, needs, and all of that. I'm building with you as a life partner and all of that. So, in the same token, I need to know where your head is at, and I need you to understand that I'm doing what I got to do on my end to keep everything in line. I'm doing what I got to do to preserve our love and to ensure that we will still have a form of a future. Again, some people are really solid when it comes to marriage. Once they feel they get married, they are not trying to leave that counterpart. Some of that is truth, serious. Some of it is truth. Whether you getting married young, whether you getting married somewhere in your season stages, no matter what the situation is. Once you walk and step down that aisle with somebody, or however you're gonna do it, you're committing yourself to somebody for life. So you have to understand that there's going to be consequences and repercussions if you both are unavailable to each other emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. The main things that should be required to keep your spouse, it's not hard things. Your partner wants to hear that they are loved, appreciated. They definitely want that security and that peace of mind. My bad, y'all. I hope I really don't get a copyright. Must be somebody's birthday today. Some of it is that though, serious. Some people got married too young in life and never really had any options to explore. And now that they have gotten to a certain point, yeah, they feel like they could do better, or they feel like they want to see what's out there. But I would always say this again: before you think of jumping the broom, you better sweep up the cobwebs out your brain, sweep up the cobwebs you might have, clear your vision on everything. Because that's a clear decision once you decide to get married. That's not no I'm rushed. That's not no anything. Once you have already decided that, that's a strong decision and commitment that you need to stand on. But divorce is a way to create a broken legacy as far as the family tree is concerned. Like I said, today's conversation is going to be short and brief. But divorce is part of a reason for a broken legacy because the family dynamic is being torn apart, either by one end, both ends, or just outside interference. When you learn to have love and self control on certain things in your life, nobody can create your narratives on how your marriage works, your relationships work. They can have views, they can have opinions. Should it matter? It should solely matter if you're happy, content, secure, and you have a solid mind and execution on how to continuously blossom throughout the stages of your relationship and marriage. But like I said, that is a part of a reason why a legacy can't be broken. I'm gonna revisit the next stage of broken legacy. I might have to break some shit down too, but I feel this is an important conversation that needs to be had. Before a lot of y'all commit yourselves to somebody, you need to make sure that the person that you are committing yourselves to is just as equally committed. Can't be no real solid foundation, love, and anything if one side is giving more than the other, or if nobody's pushing on either side. I hear you, serious, and that's the way it's supposed to be done. On either end, look, I can't just marry somebody if I'm not sure. I don't want to marry somebody and then find out they cheat, or they cheat within the first stages of the marriage just because they might be unhappy with something, or we might have had a disagreement about something. Again, it got to be a maturity factor. If you are really solely invested in somebody, then you better make sure that they invested in you as well. When both of us are able to come together and do what's needed, you see that the tandem always works out in our favor. Stop listening to nonsense. And I mean nonsense. Because there's some of y'all who are listening to complete utter garbage and nonsense, and that's creating and destroying your balance. It's creating a void in your relationship, and it's going to destroy your balance. Ladies, if you are unaware or if you are unsure of what you need at that present time, then it's cool to take your time and just explore. But be careful in what you're doing while exploring. Same thing with you fellas. Some things will arise at the heat of a moment. There's going to be some things that happen in between time that will make your bonds even stronger. Things you didn't even realize. But this is why it's key and relevant to, again, look, observe, and read. Divorce will create broken legacies because it's breaking up homes, it's breaking up traditional values of the family structure, and again, it's just destroying the kids within. At certain points, you might have kids who think that they're the reasons why the parents are getting divorced. And that might not necessarily even be the case. But it's great to, again, try to keep the conversation in motion. And before I do get up out of here, um, I will be revisiting this. But it's a good conversation. And when I revisit, trust me, the link will be dropped. Um, all in all, though, hopefully everybody enjoy the rest of the evenings. And hopefully everybody get prepared for the Labor Day weekends as well, too. Keeping yourselves safe as always. But I do appreciate everybody that tuned in tonight, and hopefully somebody did get something out of this. Um, Again, hopefully we'll revisit this, and we're gonna revisit this with a clear mind. But again, ladies, gentlemen, it's time for y'all to start expressing yourselves more often, and also understand your self worth, your self value, your self respect, and your self dignity. When any one of those are compromised by people you are bringing around you, you need to exit them out, even on a relationship tip. The one thing to remember is that you can't play around with people's hearts. That form of karma will always come back to bite you in the ass one way or another. Sorry to say it that way. But if you want something great, want something solid, you are responsible for putting that into your life. Make sure you are making the execute decisions you need to make. And before I get up out of here, again, let me wish happy birthday to all the birthdays, to all the birthday babies. Oh yeah, it is Friday, so my bad.
Don't give in, trust me, girl, take all you see. So let me in. Don't give in, trust me, girl, take all you see. So let me in. Don't give in, trust me, girl, take all you see. So let me in. Don't give in.
Yeah, I'm feeling good on this Friday. Feeling good. Let me show you how good I'm feeling. Let me show you how good I'm feeling.
Don't give in, trust me, could take all your sins. So let me in, don't give in, trust me, could take all your sins. So let me in, don't give in, trust me, could take all your sins. So let me.
But again, hopefully somebody did get something out this conversation. Oh, and I ain't forget about y'all. I did not forget about y'all. Hold on. I did not forget about y'all. Remix.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You a baddie, the type I appreciate. With no makeup, you looking good in the face. Natural body, I'm loving how it's shaped.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hoes coming in, so I gotta bring the guys with me. Said he get the dirty outside. Heard they was some freaks, so I had to bring the down with me. Oh, you with it? I'm gone. Come to the bathroom, give me that dome. Yo, mans get the tripping, Brody. Hit him.
Oh man. Yes, Virgo season is in full effect. Yes, yes. Happy birthday and happy early birthday to all the Virgos celebrating. And hopefully y'all keep yourselves intact and hey, keep creating and building better memories. Yeah. For those following me, I see y'all tomorrow. I see y'all tomorrow afternoon with the early afternoon site, definitely. For those following me on Clapper, oh yeah, Freestyle Friday. We are definitely in the building at 6. I appreciate everybody that's been a part of the build, still becoming part of the build, and still got great conversations like this to break. And hopefully we get to some form of resolution. Before I do get about it here, let me be a fool real quick. Let me be a
Been
fool
on that
real quick.
time, cause she want me on me like no. Sorry girl, but she gotta go. Sorry girl, but it's too much, it's too much, it's too much. It's too much, it's too much, it's too much.
You know how to be a fool real quick. But yeah. For those following me, definitely, like I said, I see y'all tomorrow. Definitely see y'all early tomorrow afternoon for this YouTube site. And hey, hopefully everybody enjoyed themselves. And hopefully somebody did get something great out the conversation. Let me get up out of here, though.
So let me in, don't give in, trust me, could take all your sins. So let me in, don't give in, trust me, could take all your sins. So let me in, don't give in, trust me, could take all your sins. So let me in, don't give in, trust me, could take all.
Bounce back, take a loss, nigga, get it right back. She get tossed round, moving like that. Outside with the demons, Eliantte almost made me drown, but I'm breathing. I had to lose to win. Then I told myself I never lose.
Yeah, you know how to be a fool with that. Again, happy Friday to everybody. And again, a safe Labor Day weekend for everybody, whether you celebrate or not. If you with the family, if you got events you going to, if you just plan on being out and about. Again, just enjoy every blessing. You know, keep creating those long lasting memories and don't let nothing stop you from being who you are. Keep being great. And if you got great things around, continue to make those things greater. If y'all was new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Shout out to the replay game. Shout out to the Shadow Mafia and the Shadow Babies. Y'all know what it is, baby. Everybody that was in attendance tonight, y'all already know that love is love and they'll be reciprocated as such. I don't know how to be fake. All I can do is give you real. That's all I'm gonna do is give you real topics and real builds. Those who might have just been tuning in, definitely catch this replay. Y'all stay safe. Keep that third eye open. Until the next live, we out of here. Peace and blessings.